The date is February 22nd, 2026. The location is Jalisco, Mexico. El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco Cartel, or CJNG by its known abbreviation, which is currently the largest cartel in Mexico along with El Chapo's Sinaloa cartel, had been wanted for years. El Mencho, who has been at the top of the wanted lists of both Mexico and America since the 2000s, was raided in the state of Jalisco, the center of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel organization. In the raid conducted by the Mexican army, 4 members of the cartel died, 3 were injured, and El Mencho fell into the hands of the Mexican army in an injured state. El Mencho died from his injuries in the air while being transported to the hospital by a military helicopter. After his death, Mexico witnessed a scene similar to what we saw when El Chapo and his sons were also caught. You have probably already seen most of this in the news. The Jalisco cartel is a cartel spread across 8 states, and according to some sources, it has up to 30,000 members and sympathizers. El Mencho, for whom America's anti-drug unit had placed a $10 million bounty on his head, had been running his organization as a fugitive for years. His organization had made billions of dollars, especially from the sale of drugs smuggled into America. The Jalisco cartel, which has tens of thousands of members, or by its long name, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, took a heavy blow with the death of El Mencho. But in recent years, the cartel leadership had actually begun to be caught slowly. For example, the leader of the cartel's financial leg, Abigail Gonzalez Valencia, El Mencho's son, El Menchito, El Mencho's son-in-law, El Gawacho, who is responsible for money laundering, and many prominent Jalisco cartel figures will already spend the rest of their lives in prison in America right now. Following the capture of Sinaloa cartel leader El Mayo in recent months, the death of El Mencho clearly shows that the pressure on Mexican cartels has increased significantly. Mexico's 2 current largest cartels, the Jalisco and Sinaloa cartels, have entered a leadership crisis with events like this. So let's summarize what happened in the last few days. When El Mencho died, members of the Jalisco cartel blocked roads in this state, namely Jalisco, especially in large cities like Guadalajara. They set some vehicles on fire. Similar actions took place in different states such as Michoacan, Sinaloa, and Tamaulipas. Mexico once again became the scene of Civil War images that we are used to seeing when those cartel members are arrested. For example, 20 traffic points were closed, especially in the city of Guadalajara. Workplaces were raided, and many places like markets were looted. Serious clashes also took place between the police and cartel members. The events were naturally not limited to Jalisco alone. As I just said, it is said to have spread to up to 20 states, and it is talked about that more than 250 roads were closed. Authorities say most of these have now returned to normal. But of course, this can also be perceived as a major terror incident or a major civil war practice. But in fact, these road blockage events are a common cartel practice in Mexico. These are called Narco-Blockades, meaning narco-blockades. And this is such a practice. First, when any cartel leader is arrested or killed, cartel members lock the main roads, as in this event. Thus, mobility is prevented. That is, the entry and exit of vehicles such as military vehicles, police vehicles, or ambulances to the cities are prevented. In the second step, vehicles are burned. Armed groups engage in actions, and an environment of chaos is created. So they draw the image that the state does not exist here, we do. In the third step, retaliation and bargaining come into play. If someone is arrested, which we saw in the example of El Chapo's son Ovidio, Raton, their release is demanded. If not, the clashes continue. A kind of revenge is taken with actions such as burning vehicles. During his second presidency, Donald Trump has thoroughly increased the pressure on Mexican cartels. Or rather, America is now using military intelligence methods against cartels that were used against structures like Al-Qaeda in the past. That is, it has officially included cartels within the scope of terrorist organizations. In fact, a new structure was established in the Pentagon in this context: Joint Interagency Task Force Counter-Cartel. Interagency Joint Task Force Anti-Cartel Unit. This unit conducts its operations directly from the Pentagon, and its targets include cartels like Jalisco or Sinaloa. The Mexican army carried out the El Mencho operation. However, all the details and intelligence of the operation took place within the framework prepared by this joint task force. In fact, the Mexican Minister of Defense also admitted that America provided complementary intelligence in the operation. According to sources, this anti-cartel unit, established in January 2026, will treat all cartel activities on America's Mexican border as terrorist incidents and will intensify its operations. Actually, the Trump administration's anti-cartel measures are not limited to this either. America has recently made many aerial interventions against cartel members transporting by sea in the Caribbean and the Pacific. The Trump administration is also imposing harsh sanctions on the Mexican administration regarding taking anti-cartel action. As a result of Trump's famous customs tariff moves, Mexico placed exactly 10,000 military personnel on the American border. Mexico did not stop there and began to go after some public officials, such as the mayor of Tequila, Diego Rivera, who are suspected of cooperating with cartels, meaning the pressure on cartels has been increased. Actually, Donald Trump himself had said that he wanted to solve the problem in a much more radical way by putting American soldiers into Mexico. But Mexico's president, Sheinbaum, accepted America showing participation at the level of intelligence support instead of direct intervention. As a matter of fact, the Mexican president Sheinbaum is in a quite difficult situation. Because she has to fight cartels that establish administrations like feudal lords in the country, and she also tries to project an image of not completely bowing down to the pressure coming from America. But the Mexican administration is not the only one in a difficult situation, because cartels have also lost a lot of power in the past years and months. Especially the Sinaloa cartel, which dominated the 21st century, lost its leader, El Chapo, and its other leaders like Chapo's children, alongside Ismael Zambada and Zambada's children, losing many of its iconic leaders. Many of these names are currently serving time in prison in America. In fact, according to Reuters, this crisis has turned into violence within the Sinaloa cartel as well. That is, the Sinaloa cartel could split up, as we have seen in super cartels like the Guadalajara cartel in the past, and it is likely that different large and small cartels will emerge from within it. As I said in the introduction, a similar process is actually happening in the Jalisco cartel right now, and with the death of El Mencho, similar leadership crises will probably occur in this cartel too. According to DEA reports, the Jalisco cartel was a key player in the production and trade of synthetic drugs like fentanyl. In fact, it was also seen as the one responsible for the fentanyl crisis spreading like a disease, a pandemic in the US. This is another important detail in the Trump administration targeting El Mencho. El Mencho's organization had already emerged by fighting against the structure called Los Zetas, and as part of its propaganda, it was attacking authorities like soldiers and police in Mexico. Therefore, since its method of action is already terror, it is an organization that is extremely easy to include within the scope of a terrorist organization. As a result, at the point we have reached today, both of these two giant cartels in Mexico have largely lost their leaders, and we can say that both are on the brink of civil war. While the Trump administration increases the pressure on Mexico, we will watch and see together where the anti-cartel struggle will end up. We wish that this beautiful country with a rich culture and colors will one day be rid of the cartel plague. Friends, you can check the description section for more information regarding developments and cartels, and you can follow the channel.